When ChatGPT showed up at the end of 2022, almost everyone made the same prediction. The truck driver was doomed. The cashier was on their way out. The factory worker, the warehouse picker, the delivery person, all of those jobs would be automated within a decade. And the writer, graphic designer, and the translator? Those were apparently the safe ones, the thinking jobs, the creative work that supposedly required the part of our brains machines couldn't replicate. Fast forward 3 years later and the data is in. And that prediction was almost exactly backwards. Microsoft published a study in December 2025 of 200,000 real conversations between people and an AI assistant, and they ranked nearly every job in America by how vulnerable it was. At the top of the most exposed list, the jobs AI is closest to taking over, they found translators, writers, historians, and customer service reps. At the bottom were the safest jobs in America. They found dishwashers, roofers, and the people who draw your blood. So why did everyone get this so wrong? And what is it about phlebotomists that an AI machine just can't do? Let's start with the numbers because they're worth sitting with for a second. In Microsoft's late 2025 study, 3 jobs scored a perfect 0 on AI applicability. This basically means the AI couldn't help with any of the work. Those were dredge operators, bridge and lock tenders, and water treatment plant operators. The next dozen on the safe list were dominated by hands-on healthcare workers, manual laborers, and tradespeople. Think phlebotomists, nursing assistants, hazardous material workers, embalmers, cement masons, and so on. Meanwhile, in a separate study from Stanford's Digital Economy Lab, economist Eric Brynjolfsson and his team found that early career employment in the most AI-exposed jobs has dropped 16% since ChatGPT launched. Software engineering jobs for people aged 22 to 25 has fallen nearly 20% from its late 2022 peak. A working paper from Harvard Business School found something similar for the employer side. Job postings for occupations heavy in structured, repetitive tasks dropped 13% after ChatGPT launched, while postings for jobs involving hands-on technical skills or real-time human judgment grew 20%. Put it all together and the picture flips. The factory worker is fine, the copywriter isn't, and the plumber has more job security than the Stanford computer science grad. To understand why, we have to go back to a paper from 1988 and an idea called Moravec's paradox. Hans Moravec was a roboticist at Carnegie Mellon in the 1980s, and he noticed something weird about his field. The things humans found hard, think playing grandmaster-level chess, doing calculus, proving math theorems, were comparatively easier to teach a computer. The things humans found easy, like walking across a room without falling, recognizing a friend's face in a crowd, picking up a coffee cup, they were borderline impossible to teach a machine. Steven Pinker, a cognitive psychologist, put it this way: the main lesson of 35 years of AI research is that the hard problems are easy and the easy problems are hard. But why? Moravec's answer was about evolution. The skills we share with toddlers, gripping, balancing, perceiving depth, navigating space, are not actually simple skills. They're built on hundreds of millions of years of human evolution. Every single one of your ancestors, going back to the first creatures with hands, had to solve those problems just to survive long enough to reproduce. Walking on 2 legs is the result of a billion-year R&D process. Abstract reasoning is brand new by comparison. Humans have been doing math for maybe a few thousand years at best. We've been writing essays for less than that. The neural circuitry behind these abilities is thin and recent, which is exactly why a machine can imitate them so well. So here's the paradox in one sentence. The things that feel hardest to us because we're consciously doing them are the easiest for machines, and the things that feel easiest because they're so deeply baked into our biology that we don't even notice them are the hardest. Which brings us back to the phlebotomist. If you've ever had blood drawn, you know it isn't a simple task. The phlebotomist has to find a vein they can't see on a body that's slightly different from the last, in a person who is often nervous and sometimes moving. They have to read the resistance of your skin, adjust the angle of the needle by a millimeter, and decide on the fly whether to try again or call someone else. All of that happens in about 30 seconds. That kind of work, the fine motor control in an unpredictable environment with a real human on the other end, is exactly what current AI models are worst at. There's a robotics company called Physical Intelligence that's trying to push past this barrier. They recently published the results of what they called their Robot Olympics, Instead of basic everyday tasks, they tested their best robots on: spreading peanut butter on bread, washing a greasy pan, putting a key in a lock, turning a sock inside out. The robot got the silver medal task done with difficulty. The gold medal task, putting a key in a lock, was, in their own words, impossible. This is why electricians, plumbers, and HVAC techs are some of the safest workers in the country right now. The Bureau of Labor Statistics says there are about 400,000 skilled trade jobs unfilled in America. By 2033, Deloitte and the Manufacturing Institute estimate that number could reach close to 2 million. It isn't only about hands. Some jobs require something even harder for AI to fake: a body in the room with another body. Nursing assistants ranked second on Microsoft's list of most AI-resistant jobs. Massage therapists, hospice workers, childcare workers, hairstylists, they all show up near the top as well. The pattern isn't really about manual labor, it's about presence. When a nurse helps an older patient sit up, the help is partly technical and partly something else. There's reassurance in being touched by another person. There's calm in being in the same room as someone who isn't anxious. A child being looked after is being attended to in a way that requires a real face, a real voice, and real warmth. And we know this not because of AI research, but because of decades of attachment psychology going back to Bowlby and Ainsworth in the 1960s. You can't deliver that through a screen, not because the screen isn't smart enough, but because the delivery mechanism is the point. The body in the room is the medicine. There's a third category, and this one is where things get super interesting. Some jobs are safe from AI not because the AI can't do the task, but because AI can't be held responsible for the task itself. Okay, stick with me. Take therapy. A 2025 paper compared the responses of an AI chatbot to responses written by 23 licensed therapists, with 150 participants rating both. Participants rated the AI as clearer, more respectful, and more supportive than the human-written replies, and yet they still preferred the human therapist. Why? Because therapy isn't just the words on the page, it's a relationship with consequences. A therapist has a license to lose. A therapist carries you between sessions. A chatbot, even one with memory enabled, isn't actually thinking about anyone when you close the tab, and the model is only running when you prompt it. A therapist worries when you don't show up. A chatbot doesn't worry. A chatbot, in fact, can't. The same logic applies in court. A language model can draft a perfectly reasoned verdict. The question is, who signs it? A judge is a human who can be appealed, recused, removed, or remembered. The legal system runs on accountability, on a human who can be pointed at and asked, "Why did you decide this?" That isn't a feature you can automate away, because the whole point is that someone is on the hook. This is why doctors, lawyers, judges, clergy, and professional caregivers are unlikely to be automated, even if AI gets dramatically better at the underlying tasks. The job description includes being a person who can be trusted, blamed, and held responsible. That is a role for a human being. Now here's the irony in all of this. The companies building AI need physical infrastructure in order to run it. Think massive data centers, cooling systems, power distribution, backup generators, none of which AI can build or maintain. In March 2025, BlackRock CEO Larry Fink told members of the Trump administration that America is going to run out of electricians needed to build out all these AI data centers. NVIDIA's CEO Jason Huang has said the same thing, that electricians and plumbers will be needed by the hundreds of thousands. Google announced a $10 million grant to train more electricians. Microsoft has launched community college partnerships. The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers is recruiting more than 100,000 new electricians specifically for AI infrastructure. The companies most invested in AI are the ones most desperately recruiting the workers AI can't replace. So there's a question hanging over all of this, and it's whether the AI economy itself is real. The companies racing to build out AI are spending money at a scale that's hard to even fathom. S&P Global projects the major tech companies will spend roughly $635 billion on AI infrastructure in 2026 alone. OpenAI has committed $1.4 trillion over the next 8 years on data center contracts, while currently bringing in around $13 billion a year in revenue. Put another way, across the AI sector, for every dollar of actual software revenue coming in, somewhere between $18 to $20 is being spent on the infrastructure to support it. Bain & Company estimates that the industry would need to generate $2 trillion in annual revenue to justify the current level of investment. That's roughly a third of the entire US federal budget, which is insane. Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, said himself at a small private dinner party with reporters that he believes an AI bubble is happening. JP Morgan's Jamie Dimon has said AI is real, but that some of this money will be wasted, and that the chance of a major stock market drop is higher than the markets are pricing in. An MIT study from 2025 found that 95% of organizations using generative AI tools so far have gotten zero financial return on their investment. Ray Dalio, a hedge fund advisor, compares current AI investment to the dot-com bubble. Federal Reserve officials are openly debating when the air comes out, and if a correction comes, the impact on jobs could go in two directions. Some white-collar work currently in retreat might come back, at least temporarily, as companies rehire what they overcut. But the trades stay needed regardless. Data centers, once built, still need power and cooling, and houses still need plumbing whether the stock market believes in AI or not. If AI keeps doing what it's already doing, what happens to the middle of the labor market? For most of the last century, the American middle class was built on middle-skill jobs, like junior accountants, office managers, paralegals, copy editors, mid-level engineers. Some of these jobs required a college degree, some didn't, but they all paid a middle-class wage, offered benefits, and gave you a path to something more. And these are precisely the jobs AI is hitting hardest. Here's the part that surprised even the researchers. In the Microsoft study, jobs requiring a bachelor's degree scored higher on AI applicability than jobs that didn't require one, meaning having a degree isn't the moat it once was. David Autor, an economist at MIT, has been writing about a process he calls labor market polarization for over 20 years. The basic idea is technology tends to eliminate the middle of the wage distribution while leaving both ends alone. The high end stays safe because it requires judgment. The low end stays safe because it requires presence and dexterity. The middle, full of routine cognitive tasks, is where the cuts happen. Generative AI has supercharged this process. Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei has said he believes up to half of all entry-level white-collar jobs could be gone within 5 years. Ford's CEO claims he will replace half of all white-collar workers, and Salesforce's CEO has said AI is already doing half his company's workload. In 2025, US employers announced about 1.2 million job cuts, the highest annual total since the pandemic. The trend has continued into 2026. Technology companies are leading all industries in layoffs, and the outplacement firm Challenger Gray & Christmas now tracks AI as a directly cited reason for tens of thousands of cuts so far this year. The picture that emerges is a barbell, a small group of people whose judgment is irreplaceable doing very well. A larger group whose hands and presence are also irreplaceable doing the work the rest of the economy depends on. And a hollowing out in the middle where the comfortable office job used to be. This is a structural shift. The question for the next decade is which kinds of work will pay enough to live on and how many people will get to do them. What it all comes down to is when we ask which jobs AI can't replace, what we're really asking is what's irreducibly human. What's the part of us a machine couldn't approximate, even in principle? And the answer, when you look at the data, is humbling. Our intellect is the easy part. Calculation, language, abstract reasoning, those are the youngest layers of the human mind, and they turn out to be the cheapest to imitate. The hardest parts are the older ones. Hands that move with care, a body that takes up space in a room, a face another person can read, the capacity to be trusted, to be held responsible, to be there when something goes wrong. For most of modern history, we treated those skills as basic, as blue-collar work, as what you did when you couldn't do something more impressive. And it turns out, they're some of the most impressive things we as humans can do. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy learning about the patterns underneath everyday human life and how we got here, please subscribe to my channel. I'd love to hear in the comments which job on the list surprised you the most, or which one you think AI might actually crack first. You can also leave a video topic suggestion in the community or post tab, and your video may be next. Until then, take care.